you say fight. Union. Union. When I say people, you say fight. People. People. All right, so we're going to start introducing speakers. We're going to have some speakers here in the port, a few speakers. Then we're going to march to Broadway. All right, brothers and sisters, I want to introduce first to you, who's going to lead us off, my brother, my mentor, retired member of the ILWU Local 10, activist, former Black Panther, and freedom fighter. And even though he's retired, he is still active today in our fight to end systemic racism. So I want to bring to this microphone right now my brother and mentor, Brother Clarence Thomas, the real Clarence Thomas.
Are you ready to fight? I can't hear you. Are you ready to fight? Brothers, sisters, friends, comrades, and I know there may be some enemies in the audience. Because anywhere people's struggles are, they're there too. I want to say one thing. We are all here today for one reason. The boldest, blackest, radical trade unionists in the United States of America, ILWU Local 10, ILWU Local 34. Brother Trent Willis came up with the idea of the Million Worker March, this t-shirt that I'm wearing. Brother Keith Shanklin was a part of that leadership. We got to be very clear about something, brothers and sisters. Our objectives and goals are not the same as the political class. There's a movement to make the port privatized for hotels, baseball stadiums, and retail. We have to stop that. The Oakland A's have to stay in East Oakland, not at the port. Not at the port. I'm not going to speak long right now. I want to introduce someone. You need to listen to this brother very, very closely. He's the person that works with the truckers here. A lot of people of color. His name is Andy Garcia from Gse Logistics. Let's give him a big round of applause. Brother Andy Garcia, let's hear it.
This is our day. We are here together. I'm giving voice in solidarity to the brothers of the ILWU Local 10, Local 34, and all the locals that keep this port fluid, employing millions of people across Northern California. And the rich and the powerful and the politicians that want to sell this port to the highest bidder, want to take away our jobs, want to take away our opportunities, want to take away the future of our families and our families' families for money in their pockets. I tell you, today we celebrate Juneteenth, but those who don't want to hear us, who think we're weak, who think we're quiet, who think we're afraid, who think we're divided, we want them to know that we are here because we, as the preamble to the Constitution states, we are the people of the United States. Yes. So we're going to march, we're going to shout, we're going to scream. So not only do they hear us here, but they hear us across the nation. We are the people, and this country is here for all of us. Let's get it done. Let's go.
All right, brothers and sisters, our next speaker is the international president of the Inland Boatmen's Union,
Marina!
our sister union. Marina Sacitano, y'all. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you. It gives me great joy to look out and see so many members from our unions and our communities here today to celebrate this day when slavery was ended. Ending slavery was an important milestone in the journey toward racial equality, but as we all know, we have a long way to go. Today, the ILWU shuts down its West Coast ports, joined by many unions around the world to protest the tragic murder of George Floyd on this historic Juneteenth. We cannot go on as business as usual. Our union has a proud history on the issue of race, when in 1934, during the Great Strike, where 2 of our strikers were killed by the police, our founder, Harry Bridges, went into the black churches to invite workers into our union, citing racial unity is the key to our strike success, and it became the guiding principles of our union. After the strike, Bridges stated that if only 2 Longshore workers are left on the dock, one will be black and the other one white.
Hallelujah!
Yes! Violence towards African Americans and other people of color by the police and white supremacists has to stop now. As our forefathers wrote in the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, their life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's a well-known fact that Dr. King was assassinated in Memphis, where he was there to support the sanitation workers who were trying to organize a union. Dr. King recognized that unions and union membership could lead the way to racial and economic equality. The ILWU shut down the ports in 1968 following his assassination. Today we celebrate our commitment to work together to bring racial equality to the forefront of our national conversation. Together we can bring an end to police violence against African Americans and other people of color. Today we fight for racial justice, environmental justice, and a criminal justice system that is colorblind.
You're here.
I was horrified when I saw the video of George Floyd being murdered by the Minneapolis police officers. I was horrified when I saw the video of Rodney King being beaten by the Los Angeles Police Department. I was horrified when I read Ray Sharp Brooks being shot twice in the back by the Atlanta police officers. And I was horrified when I learned of the death of Breonna Taylor, a black emergency medical technician who was shot 8 times by the Louisville police when they stormed her home looking for a suspect that was already in custody. Thousands of African Americans and other people of color have been murdered in this country simply due to their skin color. It's gotta stop. Thousands of hardworking Americans have been beaten in jail because they were fighting for good wages and safe working conditions. It's time for all workers, black, white, Latino, men, women. It's time for all of us to come together to fight the tyranny of racial and economic disparity. It's time for all of us to commit to ending violence against African Americans by the police. It's time for all of us to commit to using the power of our vote to elect politicians who represent the people and not the economic power structure. In closing, just want to say, it's time for this nation for all of us gathered here to make Dr. King's dream come true. Working together, we can achieve the dream of racial and economic justice for all Americans. Quote, I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Yes, Black Lives Matter.
Lives matter. Black 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 lives matter. Brothers and sisters, can you hear me? For those of you who may not know, the International Longshore and Warehouse Union represents all maritime ports on the West Coast, including Vancouver, Canada. That's why we are the International Longshore and Warehouse Union. This is an historic occasion because this action on the part of the ILWU is the first time in American history that an international union has commemorated the emancipation of African American people in the United States of America. This is a union that has a long history of fighting against white supremacy. This is a special occasion because for the first time in the ILWU's history, we have an African American to serve as the president of this great union. And it is so fitting that this action taken on the part of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union happened on the watch of Brother William Adams, who we finally call Willie Adams. I'm about to bring Brother Willie Adams and President of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union and the Vice President, Ed Ferris. Let's give them a loud up tempo. Up tempo. Brother Willie Adams. Let's hear it from Brother Willie Adams.
Brothers and sisters, up and down the West Coast, we're not working today. We're standing in solidarity. I just got a phone call. Dock workers in Genoa, Italy, they're not working today. The unions in South Africa, so Swatu, they're not working today. In 1971, Marvin Gaye put out a song called What's Going On? It says, picket lines, picket signs, don't punish me with brutality, talk to me. And Motown didn't want Marvin Gaye to release that song. He was a visionary. He spoke to what was happening. It's been almost 50 years, and the struggle continues. This morning on my run, the first song that came up on my playlist was by the late Bob Marley. Get up, stand up. Stand up strong with no apology. But you know what's so good about what's happening today? Amongst the COVID-19, amongst us all being in the streets, this is a movement. And we must continue this movement. But for me, in the twilight of my life, there is no greater joy that I see than this younger generation. They're taken to the streets all over this country and all over the world. They're militant, they're smart, and they're marching without apology. You don't have to ask for justice, you demand it. I had to think about when everybody was criticizing Colin Kaepernick for taking a knee. He was like Muhammad Ali when he refused to go to the war. Colin Kaepernick was right. And you know what? He put it all on the line. When we think about the Pledge of Allegiance, and we said freedom and justice for all, someday, well, that needs to happen. But after today, the question I have for you, and I'm going to give the mic to Brother Ed, what will you do when you leave? Because this struggle will continue. Because if that young lady had not captured that on tape, those cops would have had another day at work. And this has been going on for a long time. And good cops have got to start checking those bad cops. You can't stand by and let something like that happen. You're just as guilty. And so when we march, let's remember George Floyd. He paid the ultimate price with his life. And if we're going to take this world into the next generation, into the future, we must have the intensity, because the eyes of the world are on you today here in Oakland. The whole world is watching. Australia, New Zealand, the whole world is watching. It's not what we say, it's what we do. Solidarity forever. Thank you.
I know probably lost in the shuffle about Ed Ferris, our Secretary of Treasury of the International. Very strong brother from Local 10. But Local 10, is Local 10 in the house? Local 34 in the house? 75? 91? 22? 22? 16? All right, Black Lives Matter, fellas, and ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you a very strong brother, a brother who will have enormous character and supports the Black Lives Matter, Mr. Ed Ferris.
Thank you, Brother Shank. Thank you, Brother Shank. It's an honor and privilege to be here, family. This is a historic day, something to be proud of, and I am so proud of my Local 10 under our leadership, Brother Willis, Brother Clarence, Brother Shank at 34, 91, 75. This is a historic day. I had the honor of attending George Floyd's funeral, or memorial service, excuse me, along with Melvin McKay from Local 10 and Tyrone Harvey from Seattle, Local 19. We went there because, just like everybody out in this crowd, that video changed my life completely. I can't get those images out of my head. And until there is true equality for all races, until the color of your skin is as important as your hair color or eye color, we're not all going to be free. We're not all going to be sharing the same type of conditions. And I'm so grateful that we're seeing this diverse movement throughout the world, actually, because people are fed up. We're fed up with the way that the capitalist state is, because it absolutely requires the exploitation of the poor. So we're going to have a peaceful protest, and we need to be loud, and we need to be vocal. So when I say no justice, you say no peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. Right on. Power to the people.
My name is Jack Heyman. I'm a retiree, but I'm still in the struggle. A billionaire, John Fisher, is trying to build a new A stadium here in the port. These jobs are for people in the Oakland community, predominantly black and brown. So we want to send a message to John Fisher, to the Oakland City Council, to Governor Newsom, loud and clear. So join me in whose port? Our port. 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 Thank you.
They're here for.
What the fucking police doing here?
Hey,
I thought there was a protest against the police.
Hello?
All right. Thank you, brother. Thank you. All right.
The police is here for our security
Fuck that!
to make sure that we don't have any problems.
Hey, I can speak
But
freely,
anyway,
dog. I can speak freely. Don't tell me I can't speak. I'm not
Anyway.
gonna touch him. I can speak freely.
getting to the business. We have
I'm
here
gonna say it all day, dog.
the mother
I'm gonna
of
say it all. I'm not gonna.
Miles Hall,
They shouldn't be here.
and I want to
They
introduce
shouldn't.
her
Don't let me speak. I'm
so
not
she
over
can come
there
up and speak and give you her words about her son. Ms. Tom Hall, please come to the mic.
Talk
to Trent.
Hi everyone, my name is Ton Hall. I'm going to talk a little bit about mental illness. I know everyone has been affected in some way. Have you ever been in a situation where you tried to get your loved one help and you were unsuccessful? Have you had a family member that was so ill they didn't know they were sick? That is exactly what happened to my family and my beautiful 23-year-old son, Miles Hall. In California, you have to be a danger to yourself, danger to others, or gravely ill to get a 5150, which is a non-voluntary hospitalization. Getting Miles help was impossible. We have a broken system. The system is dangerous to our loved ones because we have to rely on the police to attend to our loved ones when they are in a mental health crisis. The police are not trained to deal with people in a mental health crisis. They don't have enough training. I created a year-long relationship with the police so that they knew that my black son belonged in the white community of Walnut Creek. They told me they couldn't help Miles because he was in a danger to himself, a danger to others, or gravely ill. So what does that mean? It means that we are forced to rely on the police to attend to medical emergencies to get help. The same police who do not have enough training and criminalize our young ones. This can't happen. We rely on the police to attend to medical emergencies. Our loved ones need to be met with compassion, not guns. On June 2nd, 2019, my son Miles was having a mental health crisis, and the police were called for help. 4 officers arrived, and within 30 seconds, Miles was beanbagged, and seconds later, shot 4 times by 2 officers while Miles was running away from them. This happened in a brightly lit cul-de-sac in Walnut Creek, where the last police shooting happened 7 years prior to another person of color, also in a mental health crisis. The officers who shot my son were aware that he had a mental illness. They didn't try to talk to him or de-escalate him in his medical condition. They were not trained. We need a non-police response to the mentally ill. The police aren't trained to handle situations, so we need mental health professionals showing up. We need money taken out of our police budgets and allocated to fund mental health resources. We need police brutality to stop. Our black children are dying. My Juneteenth prayer is that the most vulnerable members of society, the mentally ill, are freed from a system that is stigmatizing, criminalizing, and killing them. My son's name is Miles Hall, and he deserved to die. I mean, he deserved to live. Whew. Please visit us for Justice for Miles on Facebook and Instagram to see what we're doing and how you can help. Thank you.
All right! Say his name! Say his name! Miles Hall! Say his name! Miles Hall! Say his name! Miles Hall!
My name is Angel. We're here because, well, we've been involved in this movement for a long time, since Michael Brown was murdered. But we're here to support the labor movement. We're here to support, holding these police accountable for murdering black and brown people. And we're here for people who are subject to disproportionately being arrested, convicted, and murdered.
It seems like, as has been said at this rally, if there hadn't been a video of the murder of George Floyd, people would not even know about it. It would have been covered up. Is that going on every day, that there are these murders going on, people don't know about it because there's not a video?
I think this is happening all the time. This has been happening, I think, since the birth of our nation. And I think now we're living in the time of social media, and we have more media available to us at our hands. And so I think we're just now being able to see what has always been happening. So yeah, I think without video, we wouldn't have known about this. And the same thing happened, with Eric Garner in New York. And so I think we have sort of technology on our side as far as the movement goes.
And Juneteenth, you have the president going to Tulsa. Talk about that. And then, the rallies that he's going to have there and telling people they don't have to wear masks. It sounds like madness.
It's absolute madness, but I mean, do we expect anything less from him? I mean, honestly, none of us are surprised. He wants to say that he didn't do it on purpose, but I think all of us who have half a brain know better. And you know what? We're not going to give any more energy to him. We're here for the people, and we're here to make a change, and our voices are being heard, and we can see that. We can see that our voices are being heard.
I'm Patrick. I work at Anchor's team, Local 6, ILWU.
And what does this day today mean to you, Juneteenth, and the action by the ILWU and others?
We're here for support with the locals 10, 75, and 91. They started all this. They wanted to make a huge message. They've shut down ports before. This is the first time it's been on June 19th, and it's in response to the police brutality that's happening in America and across the world. We're here in support to show our brothers and sisters at those locals that even though we can't shut down a port, we're willing to show up in force as well.
And the ILWU is kind of taking the lead on this. Why is the ILWU the probably one of the few unions in the United States, the only union that's really stopping work today and urging people to come together, all workers, union and non-union?
I mean, the ILWU has a radical history. They were one of the first unions to integrate African American people back in the 30s. We have a lot of diversity in our ports. Like this, specifically, Local 10 is a predominantly African American local. And I mean, that's part of the reason that we joined the ILWU is because we saw all this history that these guys have been a part of, and like we wanted to be a part of it and help out.
And the democratic tradition of the ILWU, is that one of the things that you think is important?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I'm not trying to bring ourselves into it, but we were able to build our contract from the ground up, and that was on us to do that, and we thought that was a very important thing for us because we wanted to make it, instead of having a bigger union come in and say this is what the contract is and you could change little things if you want. We built it from the ground up, and we're super appreciative of that.
You know, there are 45 million workers unemployed in the United States now. Most are unorganized. There's no mobilization by the trade union movement to demand jobs and national health care. What has to change in the labor movement to really transform the situation?
More organization and bringing a whole bunch of like people like us that are like younger folks that are super passionate about being part of the whole labor movement.
Are you optimistic?
I'm super optimistic. I mean, we unionized one of the first craft breweries in America. Like, of course I'm optimistic.
Injury to one is an injury to all. I know all you guys felt the pain watching George Floyd die on that video. And, you know, to this day, when I see a TV show where a cop's shooting someone, oh, I feel the pain. My biggest pain, though, is watching ladies like Town Hall cry about their kids. My wife, every day, she's crying 5.5 years later about the loss of our son. He was our only son, our only child, period. So, you know, we all got to get these laws changed for these cops. We got to get this police officers' Bill of Rights taken down. They need to be held accountable just like the rest of us. If you or I do a crime, what do? They'll stack the charges on all of us, and they're going to get you for something. They're going to make you a plea deal, something like that. When a cop does it, the damn police unions keep getting them off. And we got to stop the police unions, especially that political influence they got. They need to stop with that. I understand a union for labor and stuff like that, that's a different story. But them trying to create laws that protect themselves, ain't nobody here in the port that's going to lose the port millions of dollars and to keep their job. They're going to have to deal with it or get fired. We got to defund the police. We got to put the resources in to mental health, just like Town Hall said. There's too many of us out here. All these names on the side of the truck are all from California. They were updated last year. I need a bigger truck because there's more names and I need more room to put names. You know, we don't want no more names. We want these police to stop. That's all we're asking for. Stop killing us. Stop terrorizing us. Hold the police accountable for anything they do to us. I just appreciate all you guys. Like I said, you guys all feel the pain. I know you do, and you all got to vote for against police special rights. It's the law enforcement community has special privileges. It's oh man, it's like the bus. You know, you sit on the back of the bus and I get in the front of the bus. We don't want that no more. They're just like us. They do crimes just like us. In fact, they do more horrendous crimes. So they're brothers in blue. The Blue Klux Klan got to quit covering for them. And you all know, we all took down the Confederate flag just the other day. But you know what? The police put up a new one. It's called Blue Lives Matter. That's the new Confederate flag, and we got to take that one down too. We don't need it no more. We don't need this racism from the law enforcement community. There's so much to say about this, but I didn't got enough time. Thank you. Justice for Petey. Justice for Petey. Say his name, Petey Perez. Say his name, Petey Perez. Say his name, Petey Perez. Thank you, guys.
All right, Brother Perez. Brothers and sisters, ILWU has friends, progressive friends in many, many places. The next person that I'm about to introduce is a leading civil rights attorney. She is also a member of the Oakland East Bay Democratic Club. Don't get upset. She's radical and progressive. And she's here today because she opposes a billionaire building a stadium and a hotel here on the Port of Oakland where longshoremen work who come from the black and brown community. I give you Sister Pamela Price. Let's hear it. Sister Pamela Price.
George Floyd, say his name. Breonna Taylor, say her name. Say his name! Petey Perez, say his name! Ahmaud Arbery, say his name! Elena Mondragon, say her name! My name is Pamela Price, and I'm here today because I'm a drum major for justice. We know that we could be here all day, all year long, saying the names of people stolen from us, stolen from their families, stolen from our community by police violence. It has got to stop. Black Lives Matter. Across this country, we are being joined by people around the world that are speaking up against injustice and police violence. In East Oakland, we are fighting against the abandonment of the Oakland Coliseum for purchasing the Howard Terminal because we know that the Howard Terminal Stadium project means prioritizing profits over people. We reject that. We know that the Howard Terminal Stadium project will destabilize the black community in both East and West Oakland and speed up our displacement from Oakland. So we stand in solidarity with the ILWU across this state, across the entire coast, in shutting down and saying, no, we have to get to a place where we prioritize people over profits. I heard someone say that the American dream is based on the nightmare of racial suppression. We have to make it clear that racism in America is a public health crisis and that policing and prisons are systematically racist. We must be the change we want to see in this world. This is Alameda County, my second year of law school, 1979. Police killed 14-year-old Melvin Black 2 blocks from my house because they thought they could not tell the difference between a BB gun and a real gun, because they couldn't tell the difference between a 14-year-old boy and a grown man. Fast forward 40 years. Between 2000 and 2016, in this county. And we have not had any accountability. Only one case was prosecuted by the district attorney's office, and that was Oscar Grant. One case. And if George Floyd had died in Alameda County, his family would have had to beg the district attorney to conduct an independent investigation, because the policy is that they only investigate in custody deaths when the police use a gun. This is Alameda County. Alameda County, where we live. Hello. Black people are less than 12% of Alameda County, but we are 50% of the people on probation and 49% of the people in the county jail. Black children, black and brown youth in this county constitute 86% of the youth who are charged with felonies in this county. That has to change. This movement has to make it clear that we have got to defund police, defund prosecutors, and divest our money from prisons. If you shut down the prisons, then the police will not be incentivized to arrest black and brown people. In California, since 1985, we have opened 23 prisons and only 4 universities. That's a shame. That's right. Delane Easton says, budgets are a statement of priorities. Is it our priority to educate our kids or to send them to prison?
Educate our kids.
Our priority has to be to educate our kids. We have to take the demand that our elected leaders divest from prisons, that they defund the police, and that they invest our money, our resources need to go to housing, to health care, to education, to jobs, to a guaranteed income. That's what we need to have happen after 2020 and 2020 and beyond. We have to elect courageous leaders with the moral courage and the compassion to stand with us, to fight with us, to deliver what we say we need for us. Black Lives Matter, power to the people.
It's right on, Sister Pamela Price. Now, brothers and sisters, I just wanted to share a story with you before we move on to the next speaker. A lot of the members of the International Longshore Warehouse Union Local 10, who've been knowing me for years, don't know this one thing about me. I just started exposing this in recent history. In 1983, my older brother, his name was Todd Leonard Willis, a member of the military, a soldier, was stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado. He got into an argument in a nightclub. An argument, not a physical confrontation, a verbal argument. The military police showed up and he ended up dead. He was 20 years old. Every time I see the murder of an unarmed black man or woman on my television set, no matter what part of the country it's from, no matter what time of the day it is, it kills my heart. When you lose a sibling, a parent, a cousin, a friend like that, it is something that never leaves your heart. My heart continues to be broke. This is why we sympathize with each and every mother, father, family member, or friend of a friend who has been killed unjustly by either mobs chasing them down the street because they went in a house, and an abandoned house, and looked at the construction, whether it be the police busting in the wrong house, shooting somebody because they made a mistake serving a warrant, whether it be because the person is accused of using a counterfeit $20 bill. A counterfeit $20 bill. Allegedly. And I don't even care if he really had the goddamn $20 bill. When you talk about these minor infractions that we hear where black and brown people are being charged, sentenced, convicted, and murdered, given the death penalty right on the spot, this can't happen anymore. My brother was given the death penalty right on the spot for talking back to white folks. Now, you don't think you would hear that around here in a metropolitan city, but you do. Even on the Port of Oakland right here, where the ILWU Local 10 members work every day. You see these terminals here. We've had situations since Donald Trump got elected here where we've had noose hangings on the job. We've had swastikas drawn on the walls in the bathrooms. This is in Oakland, California. But you know one damn thing? They do it in secret around here. Because you don't come around here with that. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm the president of the Longshore Union Local 10. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to speak for our members right now. You don't come around here with that. Now, one of the main reasons why I'm a proud member of the ILWU, because we've had our internal problems. Don't think we haven't. Every organization has its internal problems, in particular dealing with systemic racism. Okay, all of our members, even though the majority are, we have some members in our union that don't quite know how to behave. Okay, but we put something in place for that. It's called the African American Longshore Coalition. And just so you know how we got here, before I introduce the next speaker, the local chapter here of the African American Coalition came to the president of Local 10. And they said, we tired of this, Brother President. Labor needs to do something. Labor needs to put its shoe in this fight. Labor needs to say something. Labor needs to say something loud. So to make a long story short, we put a letter together in Local 10. We presented that letter to our sister locals, Local 34, 91, Local 75, and the Inland Boatmen's Union. And they endorsed that letter. And then that letter was sent to our international president, who you saw up here speaking earlier. That letter was also sent up and down the entire coast to all 29 ports, all 29 locals. And I didn't know what to expect after that letter was sent out. I didn't know what was going to happen. But what did happen was extraordinary. All 29 locals up and down the coast decided to take this action today, along with the ILWU Local 10, 34, 91, 75, and the IBU. And I'm proud of that. I'm absolutely proud of that, because I was watching the news not too long ago, and we all saw the same thing that I saw that day, when unfortunately our brother Michael Brown Jr. was shot down in the street by a white police officer. Shot down over some cigars. You know, I've been around a long time, but when you talk about words like disproportionate, You're talking about something that happens to a certain people disproportionately. I'm glad to see the mixture that we have here. Every race is represented in this crowd. And that's what it's going to take to stop systemic racism. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. I don't see many white folks getting shot in the back by police and getting accused of over cigars. Okay? I don't see many white folks getting killed by the police over $20. I don't see many white folks living comfortably, watching TV in the house, and the police just bust the door in and shoot you down. We don't see that often. But my next speaker, Brother Michael Brown Sr., saw it up close and personal. He felt it just like I did. This brother lost his son. I know his heart is broken. I don't even have to ask him. I know how he feels. So we invited him here today to tell his story. And I'm going.
Hey, Ferguson is with y'all. Y'all know that, right? Shout out to Lou, man. Shout out. Appreciate that. If I kind of wrote something, I really don't write. I just speak from the heart because I'm a broken father. My heart is broken. So I wrote something. Close. Justice is all we want. We are done dying. We are done accepting any less than what we deserve. Our women carry our seed for 9 whole months, promising every part of them. Sorry about that. And you one day decide our children are not valuable anymore. I strongly believe an eye for an eye. That will make this world a better place. But the human in me just want real change and justice for all. Until you stop killing and harming us, we're going to hurt your pockets every chance we get. Happy Juneteenth to all y'all, and help us keep this fight alive by donating to WW Mike Brown Foundation, because we all are chosen for change. Thank you.
I want to share something with you. The person that I'm about to introduce, I've known him for over 50 years. He and I were students at San Francisco State when we shut down the campus for the longest student strike in the history of the United States of America. Around the issue of Black Studies and the School of Ethnic Studies, and that institution stands today. The next speaker is someone who is an internationally renowned actor, producer, director. He's in the tradition of people like Harry Belafonte, Paul Robeson, international stars who have used their celebrity to fight for justice and freedom for all. He was born in San Francisco. His mother and father worked for the post office. He's from the working class. He's from the Black working class. He still lives in San Francisco. He's not feeling well today, but he said there was no way that he could miss this historic occasion. The man that I'm talking about is Brother Danny Glover. Brother Danny Glover was with us when we did the Million Worker March in 2004. Brother Danny Glover was with us when the ILWU shut down all 29 ports to protest and resist the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Brother Danny Glover is here today.
All right. How are you? How's everyone doing? All my brothers and sisters out here? Well, I'm here because we have to be out here. We have to keep on marching. We have to keep on organizing. We have to tell the truth, and we demand justice. We demand peace. We demand justice in every way. We demand justice in our educational system. We demand justice in terms of who is going to police our communities and what's going to happen in our communities. Who's going to safeguard our communities. We demand that. We've been here. This journey's been a long journey. The long journey, a journey that has been from time immemorial that we have to keep going. This is Juneteenth. June 19th, 1865. All of the slaves were free. Became free. Not with the emancipation in 1963, but after the Civil War. 3 months after the Civil War, they were free. We have to continue to fight because we're not free. If we're not free, if the formerly African slaves weren't free, then we're not free. None of us are free. It takes another generation to do this. The Black Panther Party, right here in Oakland, was a part of that struggle. You become the part of that legacy here, and we will not stop until the job is done. So the fight for freedom is ongoing. It's ongoing. You are the bearers of this. You are the next generation. You are right here using your voices and using your feet and using the extraordinary power that you have here. Let's use this power and get it done. It's a long process. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be the next month. It's going to be a long process. And we have to continue to protect what we win. And when we win, we can only win when we organize and stay together. All right, my brothers and sisters. The mission continues. The struggle continues.
Thank you, Brother Danny Glover. Brothers and sisters, just before Angela speaks, we need 2 minutes. We have Brother Terry Vallon of the Seafarers Solidarity Committee that is trying to help save the crews that are on the passenger ships that may be infected by COVID-19. There are 3 of them here in the port. Terry Vallon.
All right, y'all, I won't take too long. I'm just here today to say we're here in militant international solidarity with the ILWU, shutting down ports from San Diego all the way up to Vancouver, Canada. The ILWU, their black leadership, from the rank and file to the leadership of ILWU, the young people, communities rising up. We're here today with Third World Resistance, the International League of People Struggle, the International Migrants Alliance, and people around the world to say we're here today with you. There are hundreds of thousands of Filipino, Indian, all peoples around the world on these ships. Some of them have died right here in the Bay Area. Some of them are committing suicide because they won't let them off of those ships. Are we going to stand for that? So that police terror against our communities here, the racism and violence and exploitation of the seafarers on the ships. We're going to stand against every front of attack against our communities. And when they attack our communities, what do? We stand up and fight back. So when black lives are under attack, what do? When the Longshore is under attack, what do? When seafarers are under attack, what do? Say, what do we do? Say, what do we do? Long live international solidarity. An injury to one is an injury to all. Long live international solidarity.
Thank you, Brother Terry Vallon. And now, Sister Angela Davis.
Happy Juneteenth, everyone. We are still on the long road to freedom. Whenever the ILWU takes a stand, the world feels the reverberations. A powerful, collective thank you to the International Longshore and Warehouse Union. We remember stands against the internment of Japanese Americans in the 1940s. We applaud the fact that you stood with Martin Luther King and civil rights activists in the 1960s. We know that you radicalized the struggle against South African apartheid in the 1980s. And we thank you for supporting Mumia Abu-Jamal, for solidarity with the anti-capitalist Occupy movement, and for your resounding no to the racist state of Israel, and for your expressions of solidarity with those who call for justice in Palestine. I was thinking the other day that if I had not chosen to become a university professor, my next choice probably would have been to become a dock worker or warehouse worker in order to be a member of the most radical union in the country, the ILWU. Thank you for all of your contributions to our struggles against racism and capitalism, against racial capitalism. And thank you especially now for speaking out against the brutal racist murderers of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Rayshard Brooks, and the many others whose lives have been claimed by the structural violence of racism. Thank you for shutting down the ports today on Juneteenth, the day we celebrate the end of slavery, the day we memorialize those who offered us hope for the future, and the day when we renew our commitment to the struggle for freedom. Thank you, ILWU, for shutting down the West Coast ports today. You represent the potential and power of the labor movement. Hopefully, this action will influence other unions to stand up and say no to racism. And yes to abolishing the police as we know them. Yes to reimagining the meaning of public safety and security.
Thank you, Sister Angela Davis.